We are going to be nice and close. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Casual Space Live with resident expert Dean McElijah.
Right here, me.
All right, we are just about to go live. Well, we're just about to start.
Yeah.
Gosh, this is really close.
Yeah, this
is
going to be cool because at the end, yeah. Well, it's cool, but yeah,
okay.
it's
too close?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Anymore, I'd be sitting on your lap.
I know. Well,
yeah. This is going to be great because this portion of Casual Space Podcast is going to be so cool because at the end of this month we are doing SLS 1, Artemis I launch. And it's going to be phenomenal. Yeah. I also have 2 backup dates, so I haven't forgotten anything. Yeah.
All right, Dean, you're all set. Okay, I'm going to scoot you close, just like that. Okay, good. This is great.
That's better.
So Leslie's watching already.
Hi, Leslie.
So we're going to start, and before I literally, we're already good, but before I edit into this, if you have questions, I'll be reading, Dean will be speaking, and I will give him the questions as we go. So just put them into the text, put them into the chat. We should probably tell them what we're talking about would help.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the podcast because, I'm open to any question, but...
They'll probably ask, where are you guys?
Yeah.
That's good.
This specific
one. Make sure this is not, no.
SLS.
Yeah, tell them SLS because of course we're talking space.
Yeah, we're going to be doing SLS, which is another NASA acronym meaning Space Launch System. It actually started right after the canceled Constellation program from the President Bush era. But we're off and running now with SLS, and it is the basic replacement of the old Saturn V that we used to have. It's more powerful than Saturn V, not as tall as Saturn V, but its capabilities are immense. If people didn't know, the Saturn V was actually built for Mars. So we were hoping to go to Mars after the moon and all the moon landings we had, which was Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17. We were hoping to use Saturn V to go to Mars. Well, that didn't happen. So we ended up having the STS program, which is the shuttle.
That was ambitious. Straight from the moon to Mars.
Yeah, that's what Werner von Braun wanted. He wanted to go over-engineered, actually, is what he said he wanted to do. He wanted to just build something so we can get right there. Never been able to test the capabilities of the Saturn V, even to take a probe or something to Mars.
Recently being down in Huntsville, Alabama, where they have a Saturn V in the Davidson Center on site at Space Camp, you can sit underneath it. And we had one of the campers that went through the program say, now all around it is how it was built, how it was assembled, how it was tested, and what it was used for.
Amazing.
So the kids get all that education. And then at the very end, the whole rocket kind of comes into a point, and at the point is a moon rock. And everyone gets to check it out and touch it. But the kids said to me, I can't believe all of this is for that. All of this is for that little rock.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's a big scope of it.
It's a big scope. Yeah. That will lead them to understand physics then, which is always fun, because you need that much power to get out of the Earth's gravitational pull to get to the moon. And that's the kind of part that they'll learn and be really interested in. It's just amazing. But yeah it's true, just for that. Just for that. The 88 pounds of rocks that Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin brought back on Apollo 11.
Well, this new rocket that we're talking about today on Casual Space with resident space expert Dean and Beth is SLS. And
correct.
Getting rocks is just a small fraction of what this rocket is going to help us do, but way beyond any transportation system we've ever had before, but similar to Saturn V. So introduce us. You already started telling us a little bit about SLS and the origin story, because we know that we need a lot of rockets. We have a lot of things to do in space, and this is just going to be one, but it's the latest one, and it's one we've been waiting for quite some time, and this is NASA's rocket. So let's start there. SLS, you mentioned it. All right.
Yeah, let's mention SLS is the acronym that NASA uses, meaning the Space Launch System. Okay, and it's interesting that you said it's NASA's rocket. Well, it's actually our rocket.
Mine?
Everybody's
Yours?
rocket. Yeah, we all paid for it.
I want to write my name on the side.
Yeah, I'm going to go there with a marker, and we're just going to go up there and probably get spotlights and thrown in jail, but it'll be well worth it.
I'd do
so,
it.
yeah, definitely.
It's our rocket.
So the Saturn V was about 352 feet high. The SLS, or Artemis I, is going to be about 322 feet high. Okay. If you noticed on the side of SLS, you know, we took some old shuttle technology and we're using the solid rocket boosters, the two big shafts on the side of the main orange tank. Now, the reason why Saturn V didn't have an orange tank is because it was completely encapsulated within the metal structure of the Saturn V booster itself, inside, because there was no issues. But also, when you notice, when the Saturn V launched, you would have all the ice fall off of it because it condenses. You know, the fuel is at minus 250 to minus 300 degrees below zero. So that, and then in the Florida weather, you're producing ice and it all encapsulates that. And then when the rockets and the vibration and everything fire, everything falls off. Well, the orange on part of SLS is nothing more than just insulation on the skin. That's all it is.
Hey, Dean.
Yeah.
What is the 5 in Saturn V?
5 was actually produced, and it was a Werner von Braun thing, because the first initial testing of the Saturn rocket were going to be 5 tests. So he said, oh, that's cool. Instead of a Saturn booster, let's just call it Saturn V.
Is it also because it has 5 segments that make up the rocket?
5 segments on the solid rocket boosters. That's the segments. The shuttle had 4 segments. So we added another segment to the solid rocket boosters on SLS for more thrust and a little bit longer duration.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay. I love
amazing.
how we're going back in order to go forward.
Right.
It's important to understand why we've arrived at this rocket. I keep calling it the rocket, but SLS is the name.
Yeah.
So let's get into me referencing it correctly. SLS, Space Launch System. You know, it could also be called Lunar System, but I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit.
I would say because we don't even have a plan for a lunar lander yet. But that's okay, because Artemis is designed to go to the moon, so you're correct also.
See?
You know, it's a lunar
NASA
rocket.
acronyms sometimes have double meaning.
It's a lunar rocket.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're talking all things SLS. And the reason we're talking about this is because something very timely is about to arrive after years and years later this month. What's happening with SLS later this month?
August 29th will be the first launch of a rocket that size, equivalent or more powerful than the Saturn V, of Launch Pad 39B, where men first left this planet to land on the moon.
Just saying it. You just said it.
I know.
I'm freaking out.
I was hoping not to stutter because it's crazy. You know, it's
okay,
crazy.
It is overwhelming because it's been over 50 years that we've been waiting to go back.
Yeah.
So if for all the reasons which Dean could go into, I know he can, and he probably might touch upon it, but there's a reason why Apollo program ended, and there's all those reasons. So you can, if you want to highlight a couple of those, but nevertheless, it got done, it's canceled. We moved into a multi-purpose vehicle and system with the shuttle, but it only keeps us from going so far in space.
Right.
We want to go further, and we want to go, as former NASA administrator said, sustainably.
Right.
We want to stay in space and have a presence, especially on the surface and around the moon and beyond. So this is the rocket to do it. Apollo got canceled for tax purposes, for funding, for interest, like literally taxpayer interest was wavering. There was a lot going on in the 60s, late 60s, turning the corner to the 70s.
Yeah, Vietnam War, everything was horrible at that time.
Well, government authority was getting questioned in a big way. So people's faith and trust and tax dollars were like really hesitant to be into the government things. And we had made this victory of landing and going to the moon, but there were a lot of extended missions that did not happen. Like literally, astronauts were in training and they never went.
Right. We were slated to go to Apollo 20 in the last 3 launches. In fact, if you visit the major space centers in this country, Kennedy Space Center, Huntsville that you mentioned, Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama, and Johnson Space Center, you will have the 3 remaining Saturn V boosters that were slated for Apollo 18, 19, and 20. But at least we got a scientist, you know, in Apollo 17, Harrison Schmitt, to go to the moon, a geologist, to actually look at something. And it was a good site to land, because I just remember Gene Cernan on the moon going, "There's orange soil." And then Harrison Schmitt got really frazzled there. He said, "Don't touch it, don't move it, I'll be right there." Of course, walking on the moon is an issue. So a lot of them did bunny hops back and forth to get on the moon. So to get over the moon. So it was really interesting, and it was good. And 18, 19, and 20 were also slated for other geologists, other scientists. I think there was even a astronomer that was supposed to go on one of them, so he could understand, you know, what the sky would look like from the moon.
Wow.
Which obviously is really no different than from the Earth, but you don't have the atmosphere to look through and stuff. So there were a lot of plans and stuff, and as you mentioned, unfortunately, the nation had other priorities.
So just like our launch system has evolved and morphed, so does our name of our program that this rocket is going to go to. So Artemis, the sister god of Apollo, and a female to balance out the male, in a time in which females can go to space. So everything is really quite appropriately named. We've talked about it before on the show. So now that we've talked about SLS history, the rocket is taking us to do what? To get there, to orbit there, to land there? I mean, what are we doing?
Well, right now we have Artemis slated for 3 major flights. Artemis I will be taking off. The first chance it can leave Earth here is August 29th of this year, 2022. What? August 29th of this year.
Is it already in your calendar?
No, it's in my head.
But it's on your phone.
It's on my phone. Oh yeah, because I'll forget.
I knew it would be.
I'll forget or something.
You don't forget that.
No, I'll forget that it's the day.
Yeah. I'll remind you.
Please, yeah.
Okay.
And this mission is going to be so important because Artemis had what was called several months back a wet dress rehearsal. And that basically means exactly what it says. It says we fueled it with over 700,000 gallons of fuel to see how the new tanks would handle it, how you can take all the fuel out if there was an issue, put it back in again, and take it down. So we took the countdown down to T-minus 21 seconds before firing that off just to see if everything worked. The software worked perfect, the plumbing worked perfect. Again, we had some slight leaks on some of the capture valves that attach from the ground systems on the pad to Artemis, the main launch. But they have replaced all of the seals and everything, so I think we're ready to go. So it'll be really good. Yeah. So, but it's not taking anybody up. Artemis I will be used to go to the moon, and it's actually going to go about 3,000 miles past the moon and then come around again. There's a reason why we do this, because the Orion space capsule that is on SLS is larger than the Apollo capsule.
Okay.
Because the Orion capsule is slated to hold in the future 7 astronauts, where the Apollo capsule is slated to only handle 3.
At the most.
So at the most,
okay.
Correct.
7.
Yeah.
I like that.
So what that does is basically increase the size of the capsule. That also increases the weight of the capsule, which means, and you're going way out past the moon, so when you bring it closer to re-enter, it will be going faster, about 26,000 miles per hour, entering the atmosphere. We did one test on it called test 1 of Artemis, and everything went fine with firing the rockets down. But the capsule itself, Exploration Mission 1, we launched about 3 years ago and brought Orion about 3,000 miles above Earth, brought that in, and the heat shield did phenomenal. It was a good test for the divers too, because they have to coordinate how to pick up the space capsule and the astronauts and bring it back to a safe haven.
Oh
So
my
that's
gosh.
what they have to do.
Okay, I like that we're getting into the technicalities
Yeah.
of the system and the rocket. So at the top is the Orion capsule.
On the top of Orion capsule is the escape launch system.
Okay, and then that sits on top of the entire rocket.
Right.
That has both liquid and solid.
Liquid, correct.
You need a lot to get off the Earth to go
Right.
that far.
Right.
And is it going to land in the water?
Yes,
Capsule?
yes, yeah.
Okay,
This
like
is,
traditional.
yeah, this is designated to land in the Pacific Ocean.
Okay, let's get
So-
into some critiques. This is going to be hot topics.
Yep.
Why not return this rocket booster like we've seen some other companies doing? Because you can't, right?
We've decided not to recover the solid rocket boosters. Don't know because when a solid rocket motor is designed, it's designed for a specific use. But since Artemis will be launching maybe once or twice a year, hopefully more, that the boosters will not be recovered this time. They will sink in the ocean, which is a good thing.
Why?
Because the cores of the boosters are habitats for all the animals in the ocean. So
You're welcome.
it's used for something, yes. Yes.
Okay, so we talked the top, the middle, the sides. Let's talk about those beautiful engines, which
Yes.
are recycled, some of them from
Yes.
the shuttle.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before.
Yep, they all are. Right now we have 16 original RS-25 boosters from the shuttle system. Phenomenal rockets. They have a little computer on board. Well, I shouldn't say little. It's about the size of a little bit bigger than
This
a car
table,
battery.
like this?
No, it's a little bit bigger than a car battery, actually. It's
Oh.
not. It's not that engine
Okay.
controller. It's
Wow.
really not that huge, but that can be programmed for whatever mission, which tells the engine what
How
to do,
long to burn.
how long to burn.
Amazing.
It can even trim if it's getting too much oxygen or too much liquid hydrogen. It can even that fuel out to make sure it burns. It's amazing. Technology is amazing. And they actually did this with Saturn V back in the 60s.
They did?
Yeah.
A computer was on the engine?
It had engine controller.
Oh, I
All the
see.
computers were in the center section of the Saturn V, just below the lunar module and right above the third stage. That little ring that comes off is where all your computer.
Ah.
Same thing with Artemis.
I did see
You know,
that.
right after the cone comes down, the orange cone from the Orion space capsule, there's a little interdisk connection unit. That round part has all the software, all the hardware, and all the computers right in there that communicate with everything.
Well tucked away.
Yeah,
Good
well tucked
placement.
away.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's it. So we walked through the entire tangible SLS. We talked a little bit. We've talked about the engines, all the parts. And now we're talking about where it's going. And let's talk about this program. Let's talk about the stages. We've got this first one. You mentioned 3, but there's several beyond the 3. But we're really looking to get to 3 because the first 2 will be good test runs.
Right.
Real test runs, not on the pad, not on the Earth. It will be leaving Earth. And you said there's no cargo, or there's nothing inside, no living things.
No living things.
There's a few
but
payloads
there's
that
a
are
few
going to be in
payloads that are
there,
going, yeah.
which will have
Right.
video and cameras covering.
Right.
I can't wait to see.
And there's also 3 dummies that are flying.
Mo,
And-
Larry, and Curly.
Well, that would be great, but I don't remember their names. But
Wait, what's the name of the show? My other brother Daryl, and this is my other brother
yeah,
Daryl.
Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. Yeah,
Are
Larry,
they-
Daryl,
are
and
they in
Daryl.
there?
Yeah, they're in there. And what's interesting is that they're dressing them up in the orange pumpkin suits that the shuttle astronauts used to wear. Because they have about 150 to 200 sensors on them to measure G-force for the liftoff of Artemis and the environment around, the oxygen content, the pressure content, and whatever movements when the rocket yaws and rolls and pivots also. So we have to go through all of that and measure all that. So it's going to be, and they're the same size as humans. So it's going to be pretty cool getting all the information
That's so
from
cool.
them.
Yeah. What else is inside? You
Yeah.
know something I don't?
Oh,
What else is in
no. I know they're launching some CubeSats also.
Awesome.
that will be following, and that's actually a launcher that's on the bottom of SLS where the RS-25 engines are. So unfortunately, those engines are not recoverable either.
No.
So, however, there was a contract with Aerojet that makes the engines. It used to be Rocketdyne.
Well, they're together now.
Yeah, it's Rocketdyne
Yeah.
Aerojet now. But it used to be I don't remember the name.
The name of the engine?
No, the name of the company that did all that. But they merged into Aerojet Rocketdyne. And they're phenomenal engines, and they got a contract to produce another 16.
Yeah.
So, because if you know, Saturn V had 5 engines, okay? SLS has 4 engines and 2 solid rockets on the side. So, those 4 engines will be phenomenal through the whole flight.
One of the things the former NASA administrator said, Jim Breinstein, again, was it's cheaper to make more. So we wanted that contract because it's cheaper to make those massive. I mean, I got to go see some of the assemblies. They have all new welding techniques.
Oh, yeah, stir welding. It's just amazing.
Will you
You
explain
saw
what that
that.
is?
You were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, stir welding is really interesting. It uses heat, but you don't see the sparks. You actually have the 2 pieces of aluminum put together after they're formed, and this machine stirs right over the center part of that and mixes and heats all of the molecules from the aluminum together. When it's done welding all the way around, it's one piece.
Yeah, seamless.
You know, seamless. Unlike Saturn V, where you had one person welding all the way around.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah. So to see that being built, being constructed down there, gave me the perspective of like, holy cow, this is just one.
Yeah.
And we're going to be building several.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that contract. And okay, so people, I think sometimes if you have any questions, we're talking the SLS, the next generation transportation system that's taking us to the moon and beyond. Mm-hmm. And Dean and I have kind of talked through it, but one of the things, you want to see a program like this continue, and it's very different. I think people get confused. They see SpaceX coming and going. They see Virgin Galactic not even attempting to do anything from Earth. They do everything from atmosphere. They get up into the atmosphere, and then they launch rockets from the atmosphere, which just, hold on to that for a minute.
Right, yeah.
And then all these other space companies and satellite and now commercial and the things we're building and doing. Okay, so this is the NASA-based program.
Correct.
Just want to revisit that.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So we've got dummies on board, going to measure stuff. And then when we come back and we land, and then we're going to get greenlit to do this just a few years later. Let's talk about Artemis II.
Okay. Artemis II will be launched probably within the next year and a half, 2 years after Artemis I. In fact, NASA's Mizzou plant down in Mississippi is what manufactures the Artemis casings for all of that. And you might find them familiar when you see the orange insulation, because that's the same place where the shuttle external tank was manufactured for the space shuttle for 135 missions for the shuttle. So yeah, it's just fantastic. But Artemis II will actually have astronauts on board. We will launch the same
2 or
type.
3?
I think
3.
they're doing 3. Yeah, we'll have 3. And we're going to launch
No, Artemis III.
Oh,
is people.
No, Artemis II is people.
Wait.
Artemis I is unmanned going around the moon. Artemis II is going to have astronauts going around the moon and coming back.
And then 3 is landing.
3 is landing on the moon.
I got ahead of myself.
You got it.
I'm sorry.
You're just way too
I'm
excited.
sorry, Dean. Continue.
But that's fine. Yeah, I mean that's what it is. And if you look up on Artemis, Mizzou is continually making the boosters. And as Beth had mentioned before, you keep making them, you save the money, okay? Mm-hmm. One thing I know personally is that when I worked on Spirit and Opportunity, Dan Golden, the administrator, said, well, we're not going to build 1, we're going to build 2 instead. Partly because if one failed, you still had another one. But it was cheaper because you just keep going in the process of making it.
Yeah.
You have the same people manufacturing. Okay, it's cheaper. And if they both work, you've got more science. And of course, we know they outdid their 90-day warranty by about 10 years.
As did the shuttle.
As did the shuttle.
As did, and currently is, the International Space Station.
Correct. Yeah.
When NASA builds stuff, they build quality, and they're trying to keep things extended. I mean, don't you love when you get a NASA news alert and it says the rover is going to be extended, the telescope's going to be extended, and you're just like, well, that's great, but it's, you know, they have to budget for a certain amount of time, and then everything over and bonus is a bonus. Yeah. But it's really designed to be a bonus. I mean, all the things. I love how the current rover took a nap because there was some dust storms, so NASA was like, take a nap. Yeah,
just shut it down for a little while, you know, just a little bit.
But there's this, unlike, well, you know, all the rovers, this one has the ability to get a little bit of that dust off.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the helicopter comes by and buzzes it too.
Oh, I wonder if it flies by the tower, sort of say, right? Or the mast can. You know, fly by the mast can.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It's buzzing the mast can.
That's like an action movie for nerds.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah. Well, you know, we would be there, right?
Would be there too.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so I just want to say hello to everyone who's here. We've got Christopher in Hudson, Wisconsin.
Hi, Chris.
We've got Leslie and Kelly and Chad's mom and my mother-in-law Betty. She's on. Cool. I saw a bunch of them scrolling through, so I'm just saying hi to the ones I can see right now. There's more. All right, so you went through 2. Let's talk about Artemis III.
Okay, Artemis III. Actually, it's.
I can't even.
I know it's amazing, but you know.
What's the plan? Start with the plan.
The plan is the same as Artemis 1 and 2. Okay, we're going to launch and we're going to head towards the moon. They're going to do the same thing that Saturn V did, which is called a TLI, translunar injection. It's when you go around the Earth once and to gain momentum, and then you fire the engine again to put you on a lunar trajectory to get you into lunar orbit.
So that.
Okay, and that will be Artemis 3.
Go to the moon.
Okay, going to the moon. We don't know exactly how the lander is going to go or what company they're going to pick for it. There are several in production right now for a late 2024-25 landing. I think it's going to be more 2025 for that. But the most exciting thing is that, as Beth and I had talked about, just mentioned before, is that how NASA does things really well and built really well is that instead of just going to the moon and landing, we're going to go to a little space station that we're going to build around the moon called Gateway. Gateway will be a rendezvous point.
Like Bill Gates?
Maybe
I know. We don't know.
Bill Gateway. You know, I don't know. Whatever. But it'll be nice. No, that's okay.
I really got you.
No, that's all right. You're full of railroad ties anyway. You just throw them on my track. But the interesting is that Gateway will be like a oasis or a rest stop on a long trip, like you see on the expressways when you go up and take long trips. You can pull off and relax. They're going to be able to dock with this. It's not as large as the International Space Station, but it's much roomier than the Orion space capsule. Okay.
Yeah.
The contracts have been handed out for who's going to produce the power, who's going to produce the living quarters. And I do believe construction has started also for that. And that's really important because that gives you a chance, and astronauts a chance to go, okay, let's plan what we're going to do. And you know, with the Apollo moon landings, we had to land in the center of the moon, you know, so we made sure it was safe to land. Artemis's first landing will be on near the South Pole of the moon. Because during the terminator part of the moon, that's the light side where it meets the dark side, temperatures are fairly much better than either being baked at 250 degrees or frozen at 300 below zero. So sometimes it's easier just to have a consistency.
I see.
But the main reason is the discovery of water on the moon.
In the South Pole.
Okay. Now, mind you, it's not the water that you can turn on a faucet. Okay. It's high concentrations of oxygen and hydrogen. But that's what water is, H2O. When you combine those two, you can produce the water. So you're not looking at a rover, which we are designing called Viper, that will launch next year in November 2023 to look at the area where Artemis is going to land. And they will actually search for the water and the quantity of hydrogen and oxygen to prove that it was there. The Chinese rover that China had sent up is actually picked up high concentrations of hydrogen and oxygen. So they're actually giving us the information that we need to know. And that's terrific for them to help us with that. But that's what Viper is going to do. It's going to be amazing.
Water can be turned into fuel
Right.
to get off planet, off moon, excuse me,
Right.
moon, and get back up to Gateway.
Right.
So kind of,
Right.
this is huge.
That's right.
This
That's
is nothing
huge.
like
Yeah.
Apollo
Yeah.
in that sense, that we just came to observe and then contact and bring back samples and
Yeah.
make observations
Yeah.
and measurements. This is, all those things are actually either going to be done or now, when we know exactly where to land, it's not going to be in these first three, like you said.
Correct.
But Gateway may or may not be done
Correct. Yeah.
before Artemis.
Artemis, right.
4 and 5. So,
Right.
so does that mean the lander needs to be? So we'll have a lander in conjunction with building the Gateway.
Right, and we don't know exactly how that's going to be. Artemis launch system, the SLS launch system, is not designed to carry a lander. So, but we are very good at docking, and that's what we're going to do. Maybe a private contractor such as SpaceX or maybe even United Launch Alliance will have a contract to launch the lander, and then they just dock with it with the third stage, fire to third stage, the TLI, translunar injection, and off to the moon we go.
So wait, where's the lander? When you said
That
dock
will,
with it.
that would be launched. That
Leo?
would be launched.
Is it in Leo?
Yeah, low Earth orbit. Yeah, just like space station.
You grab it on the way.
Yeah,
to the
grab
trip?
it on the way and go. Yeah, just grab it on the way and stuff.
We're just gonna
Separate
launch all this
Yeah.
stuff up there and wait
Yeah.
till we grab it, retrieve it. Oh my gosh! And then what? It
Well,
lands.
and then it'll land, and then
And how do we return?
that has yet to be determined yet. Okay, I mean,
We're still working on that.
we're still working on that. Yeah, we're not going to have a one-way trip to Mars, and we're definitely not going to have a one-way trip to the moon. So yeah, we'll design. SpaceX lander on the moon is designed to take you to the moon, land on the moon, and take everything with you when you leave the moon. So in the old days with Apollo, that you would leave a descent stage, and the ascent stage would come up and dock with the command module and back to Earth. Okay, we
Important.
don't, right.
Gotta get back.
It depends on, because science and technologies change so quickly, it might be cheaper to do it a different way, like in only 3 years. Who knows? You know, but either way, we'll be there by 2025.
Oh my gosh.
You know.
This is exciting.
Yeah, feet on the moon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, feet
and
on the moon.
females, women.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think we should expect if things go well and we're good to go and we get greenlit for August 29th? I think people, if you haven't, I mean, you're not just going to get a ticket and go down to Florida for this. It's already done. Like, I know I just tried to do a media pass or a social media pass. Forget it. No. I mean, you can still try to sneak in. There's a little window. But what are people, for those who are both familiar with launches, and we're the geeks, and then the people who might not know what to look for. So for example, is it as loud as a Falcon Heavy? Is it like a shuttle launch? Are we gonna see and feel it bigger than before, or is it gonna be different? Let's walk through.
I think it will be bigger and a lot more shaking than the Saturn V.
Oh my gosh.
And the only reason why is because of the solid rocket boosters.
Okay.
And if you look at old video of Walter Cronkite, CBS, okay, he was 3 miles from the pad when Apollo 11 left, okay? And the stage was shaking at 3 miles, okay? A lot of people did not follow that whole launch that were there because the shaking was so intense that all the car alarms were going off.
Oh!
So people turned around and looked at there instead of the rocket
No,
launching and stuff.
back then,
You know,
in '69.
couple, yeah, just
Carlers.
dun, 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 you know, and, yeah, crazy.
I don't believe you.
But it
Carlers.
worked. Yeah, worked really well.
Are you sure they weren't horns from everyone going crazy?
Well, it's
like,
the horns from
woo!
the. Well, possibly, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so the rattling, it's true, like your teeth,
Yeah.
your brain,
Oh,
your
yeah.
bones,
Oh, yeah.
your very self is just shaking.
Right.
It's gonna be loud.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
I don't know about how loud, because 3 miles, you know, sound travels about 750 miles per second. So you can do the math there, and you're 3 miles away, you'll hear it in about 3 seconds.
Did you just
You know,
do that
after
now?
I just,
Yeah.
well, it's easy math. Okay, you have trouble with
dear.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
no, you're
Yeah.
right, because I've been
Yeah.
to launch.
Right. Yeah.
Well, okay.
But-
oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
think people are gonna. First of all, it's huge. It's huge on the launch pad. It's bigger than anything
Yeah.
we've seen in a long time.
Correct.
And don't get used to rockets, folks. There's all shapes and sizes, usually the same
Yeah,
shape, but
it's
there's
gonna-
lots of height
yeah.
and I think a Falcon Heavy is close.
Yeah, Falcon Heavy. Right now, Falcon Heavy is the world's most powerful booster. The Falcon Heavy. You know, that's 2 Falcon 9 strapped to a Falcon 9 center stage. So you're firing 3 Falcon 9s at the same time, which proved highly successful for SpaceX. But going back to your question about, you know, can you watch it? Can you see it? Anywhere from 75,000 to 100,000 people just showed up for a shuttle launch, okay, and a SpaceX launch. We're anticipating 250 to 260,000 people combing the beach of by the Banana River, Titusville area,
Cocoa Beach.
to watch SLS.
Yeah.
And remember, with the solid rockets, it leaves that long plume, unlike the Saturn V, which burns a liquid fuel, okay, which doesn't really leave much of a trail. But so it will be really exciting to watch that.
You'll get to see it for quite some distance. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit easier.
Right.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
So when you watch it, you're going to see the same thing with the shuttle. You didn't notice it on the Saturn V, but there is a roll program that they do, because it launches and it needs to roll to put the whole stack on a specific launch trajectory. Okay, you didn't see it much with the Saturn V, but if you notice all those beautiful black marks on the Saturn V that was designed not to look nice, but they were actually designed to track with cameras to make sure the roll was precise.
Really?
Yeah,
that's what that's for.
That's what that was for, yeah. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Especially on the main
fact.
booster, you know, because you got black and you got white and you got black, and then as you go up, you got the center part that's black. So they need reference points between there. And it's really cool just to track it to make sure you're online.
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. So, but don't have to do it with Artemis, because, you know, you'll visually see it with the solid rocket boosters, but with the advent of computers and the way that we're doing everything and how fast it's going, and the technology now with Artemis, it's all done internally. I'm sure they'll still have cameras, of course, because it's the first flight. They want to make sure, you know, everything goes fine with that.
So are we going to pilgrimage down?
Yeah, I got my thumb ready, because there'll be no place to park.
I've got a minivan. Well,
Yeah.
let's get all the way down to like Georgia and then cut over. And
Cut over, yeah.
we'll start walking.
Yeah.
Maybe
start
we'll see
walking.
it from there.
Yeah, if we wear our NASA shirts, maybe they'll say, okay, that's where you're going. So they'll pick us up and we can go.
Do you still have your NASA badge?
I do.
You're not supposed to have it.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah. Didn't hear this.
I love it. Yeah, they won't let us in.
No.
They will not. Or maybe we'll just have to stand outside like you said. Well,
fortunately, I don't know exactly. I've got the ones when I visited with the family.
The visitor pass?
Yeah, the visitor passes and stuff, but I probably had to turn everything in, as you said. So.
Oh, don't try to cover your tracks now.
Yeah, I know, I'm stuck.
You're going to get a knock at the door.
And I got to go through that. Men in Black will be there.
Anything else about Artemis? Anything else about upcoming? It's here. It's finally here. I mean, we waited for James Webb, and holy cow, I still can't believe the miracle. And did you? I mean, we talked about the broadcast.
Yeah, we can't stop talking about it because it just gets more phenomenal.
Yeah, they just found. Okay, let's see if I get this right. Dark matter from over billion years ago? Is that
They found matter. We
Matter.
haven't determined what dark matter is yet.
okay?
So,
The
yeah.
things they're finding.
Yeah, and it looks like that. I mean, astronomers say the universe is approximately 13.7, 13.8 billion years old. We're anticipating James Webb Space Telescope to look back about 13.5 billion years. Maybe even 6, depending on how it's working, but it just keeps getting better. Just keeps getting
So
better.
let's hope that this upcoming launch will be as smooth and as successful. I don't see why not. Well, you know, we haven't done this yet at this scale altogether. We've done the wet dress, we've done the testing. It's time.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
Let's go to the moon.
We're gonna launch it.
That's it.
So,
All right, I don't see any questions right now, but Artemis, end of September, where are you going to be watching?
end of August.
August.
Yeah, August 29th. I have to see what my schedule is. I'll have to try and fit it in my
Fit it in.
schedule.
Wait, let's talk about the other two that if it slips. There's one in
Oh yeah,
August,
September 2nd.
September, right close
Yeah.
on that.
Well, let's do the first one. It will be August 29th at 7:33 Central Time. Okay, 8:33 Eastern Time.
PM or AM?
PM.
That's my jam. Okay. and
No, that's not right. It's AM.
Okay.
It's,
Oh.
Yeah, it's AM.
And
7:33 AM. Then I don't know the times yet. I don't think they've been determined exactly yet for September 2nd. Then the third launch opportunity is Labor Day, September 5th. So
Let's
we
hope
got-
it doesn't go that long. But if it does, we have plenty of time to start
Yes.
walking.
Yes. Oh.
Bike.
Yeah. Okay.
Bike.
Yeah.
It's nice weather. We should get going now. You could do the podcast from
Yeah.
Florida.
Well, maybe you can call in, work for me, and let
Some
them know.
people I know.
You know,
Well, you
good.
know people.
I know.
All right,
people
well, that's
too,
our
so,
next
yeah.
podcast, folks.
Yeah.
On the road, hitchhiking down to Florida. Well, thanks, Dean.
Oh, you're welcome, Beth.
This
It
was
a blast.
great.
Yeah.
People are missing questions, so we'll catch
Yeah.
them on the podcast and
Yeah.
on our website and on all the social media channels.
Please tune in.
Dean will come back and
Yeah.
answer those questions. And let's have you come back, not just for SLS. We talked about doing LIGO.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because
Lego.
that's hard to.
Yeah, that's a little hard to swallow, but we'll
We could do
we'll
it.
try. We'll break it down for you guys.
That would be
So,
good.
'cause
All right.
That's very exciting.
Thank
So,
you.
All right.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Woo!
That was cool.
That was fun.